From 2010 until a final episode of the beloved show, American Pickers, in March 2020, Mike, 59, and Frank, 59, appeared on it. The lifelong friends just got back together during Memorial Day weekend following a startling fight, as the US Sun can exclusively reveal the current state of their friendship. Everything between them is okay, according to a source close to Frank, who is still recovering from the stroke he experienced in July 2022, according to the US Sun. They have been close friends for 40 years. They attended high school together and have engaged in numerous activities. They are great buddies that get along well. Since Frank's stroke, Mike has reportedly paid him a handful of visits, and the two have also called and texted one other today. Despite replacing the fan favorite on the show, the insider added that Frank is closer to Mike's brother Robbie than he is to Mike. Frank had a stroke, so he now has to do what he has to do, the friend said. And Mike, Robbie, and the cast carry out their duties. Apart from that, they are just friends, and their discussion is the same as it has always been. That is the topic of conversation, since those guys are obsessive about picking and finding things. Frank last made an appearance on American Pickers in an episode from March 2020. He had back surgery, leaving him with 2 rods in his spine and 185 sutures, and he left the show to heal. Frank lost 65 pounds and spent 77 days in an Iowa alcohol recovery facility during his absence from the show. During the 2021 interview with the US Sun, Frank discussed his conflict with Mike, his co-star. "I haven't spoken to Mike in 2 years, Frank said. He was aware that my back was hurting, yet he didn't call to see how I was doing. That is the way things are. The entire show is skewed in his favor. To demonstrate how much, I can't even stoop down that low. It's all right. It's similar to having Steven Tyler as the frontman of Aerosmith. I found my place on the show. I'm second, and he's number 1. I have no issue with that, but perhaps he does." Additionally, he acknowledged, "I believe Mike wants to replace me with his brother Robbie. I'm not sure why he's acting that way toward me." In July 2021, Mike revealed Frank's termination on Instagram shortly after the interview, writing, "I have known Frank for as long as I can remember. He's been like a brother to me. Like all of life, the road Frank Dunny, and I began in 2009, has had its highs and lows, blessings and challenges, but it has also been the most fulfilling. The encouragement you've all shown us has served as a continual reminder of the show's underlying message. Through these places, people and things, we all share a shared bond. We're here to look after each other as well as the past." As he said in his closing remarks, "I will miss Frank, just like all of you, and I pray for the very best and all good things for him on the next part of his journey." After having a stroke in July 2022, Frank was given guardianship and conservatorship the following month. Frank and Mike reconciled at a bittersweet reunion over Memorial Day weekend, a friend told the Quad City Times. This was not at all a conflict between Mike and Frank, the insider claimed. They weren't at odds. They needed time apart to truly appreciate one another. The friend disclosed that after 11 seasons of putting in 10-hour days, 7 days a week, on the reality TV show, their friendship became tense. The males were tearful after their long-awaited reunion, the insider told the newspaper. Both were sobbing, the buddy reported. One of their first major performances was on David Letterman, and Mike mentioned how anxious they both were about it. "No one can replace you, Frank," Mike assured his longtime co-star. Frank said to the friend, "I need to talk to Mike," and the plans were then arranged. Mike really stressed all the fun times they had before the show and during the show, the insider said in closing. Mike did state that he would like Frank to return to the program, but Frank is occupied with his health. Frank is still receiving outpatient care and continues to reside in his Iowa home. The friend stated to the US Sun, "Frank keeps getting better every day. After a stroke, you can never be fully recovered, but he is fine. He is aware of what is happening." You could sit and speak with him if he were here right now. He is still the same Frank. He can walk, but because he can't walk far, he will always need a wheelchair, his pal said. Basically, motion is lost. He stopped moving. His right side was impacted by the stroke, which can affect either side. According to the insider, Frank still spends a few hours per week in outpatient therapy. Frank is a reserved individual who enjoys being totally out of the limelight. He's had a stroke, but he's definitely not incapacitated to the point where he can't do anything or do whatever he wants, the person stated. That poses no challenges for him. He simply changed his lifestyle, which caused a slowdown. He is still the same Frank. He is cheerful and has a fantastic sense of humor. He has an optimistic outlook. We frequently make jokes. He's come to terms with everything because you have to make the best of the circumstances. His mind is right, he's a happy guy, and his sense of humor is there.